Hi, I'm Victor at divimundo.com, and today we are going to have a look at the plugin Supreme Maps Pro for Divi. So this brand new premium plugin adds 2 new map modules to Divi. Now you can upload your own custom markers, or you can choose from hundreds of ready-made icons. You can add marker clustering, and you have 6 different pre-made layouts for Google Maps. You also get advanced pop-up settings with video pop-ups or iframes or even external links. And you can really fine-tune the layout and the different design elements in the map. As an alternative to Google Maps, you also get the Leaflet Map Module. And this means that you can create maps without even having a Google Map API key. And this is also super lightweight, so it only weighs 49 kilobytes and you don't have any Google scripts on your website. And talking about page speed, this is really well optimized with dynamic CSS and dynamic JavaScripts. So let's dive in. All resources needed can be found in this blog post on divimundo.com, and if you're watching this directly on YouTube, you'll find the link in the description below the video. So let's begin by having a look at the pricing. So we have 3 different levels. Personal, that's 1 year on one website. Professional, 1 year on unlimited websites. And we have the agency license, which is a lifetime on unlimited websites. And if you use the link divimundo.com/maps, and then enter the discount code DIVIMUNDO in the checkout, you'll get 10% off. All these 3 levels includes support and updates and all the pro features, of course. Let's try it out. I've installed the Supreme Maps Pro plugin and activated it. And now if I insert a module and search for map, you will see that we have 2 brand new modules. We have the Google Map Module and the Leaflet Map Module. So you're probably familiar with Google Maps by now. And this module is feature-packed with different map stylings and design options and advanced settings. The Leaflet Map though, that's an open source alternative to Google Maps. It's super lightweight, so it's only 39 kilobytes of JavaScripts. So that equals the size of a small image. And another good thing is that you don't have to use a Google Maps API key. You can add the coordinates instead. So that means that you don't have to use any Google scripts on your site. So Leaflet Maps is a good alternative if you are dead serious about your page speed and don't want to be affiliated with Google in any way. But I'll start with the Google Maps module. And the first thing I like to do is to go to the map settings and add a map center address. So I'll add Avicii Arena, that's in Stockholm, a nice globe-shaped building. Let's zoom out a little bit, and that will actually take effect on the map. And let's add a marker item. So the first one could actually be Avicii Arena. And there we have it. And now I can add a heading for the pop-up. Let's say Avicii Arena. And here is my first marker. And of course, just in the regular map module, I can add images and stuff here. Now you can preview directly in the visual builder just by clicking, but I would recommend that you use another tab to preview in frontend when you are building your map, because it's easier to see how it actually looks in frontend. So I'll save this one and I'll refresh my page. And here we have it. So this is the default look. We have some marker settings here, and this is a nice advanced settings that you won't find in the default Divi Map module. You can actually use a custom marker icon or image. So let's try that one out. I set this to yes, and now I have the choice to either upload an image or I can use one of the hundreds of Divi icons available. So if we start by that, we have the icon picker here, and I can actually search for maybe an arrow, and then I have all the arrow icons. So let's just try one out. Can I have this finger one? And now you can see it, and it's white, so it's a bit hard to see. So let's change the color to purple, and there we have it. That's basically the settings for the icon for now. But I can also change to the custom image. And then I have a few more settings. So I click Add Image. And now I can just pick an icon from my media library. Let's take this magnifying glass. And I can see that it's 32 by 32 pixels in size. And I will upload it. And now we will see it on the map. But you can see that it's a bit skewed in size. And that's because you have a default size here in pixels. So I can change that. And I can say 32 times 32. And now it looks better. But I could also make it smaller, like 15 times 15. Like that. But let's use the original size. So this is a nice way to add custom markers or icons. And another nice feature here is to use a pop-up. So this is what will happen when you click the marker. You can choose from using a layout, and that's from the Divi library. So I can choose just any layout from my Divi library here, and that's what will display in a lightbox when I click it. Or I can choose an iframe, so I can iframe an external website just by adding the URL. So that will be added as a lightbox when I click this one. Or I can use an image, or I can actually even use video. So maybe we should try that one out. So I'll add a YouTube URL here, and let's save it and preview in front end. I'll refresh my page, and you can see my custom icon, and I click it, and I have a video lightbox here. So that's pretty neat. You can also add custom links. So if I set no to the pop-up, I can go down to link, and here I can add a custom link like divimundo.com, and it should open in a new tab. And if I save this, and I'll refresh, and now if I click this marker, it will open the URL in a new tab. So that's also a nice feature, I think. And in the design tab, you have some design settings for this specific marker and the pop-up. But I would recommend that you go back to the global settings for this module, because in the design tab, we have some settings for the info window, and that's the pop-up here. So instead of styling each and every pop-up individually, you can set it here. For example, you can style the title font, the title text style, letter spacing, etc. The content. So let me save this and refresh in front end. So now you can see that I've actually styled the title here and the text. The content, that's this part here below the heading. And I can change the text size. And also close, that's the close icon up here. So I can change the color. And I can also change the size. Could actually add some box shadow also. So let's save and check that one out. And there we go. And here's also a nice thing. You can change the entire lightbox settings here by adding another background color. So this is slightly off-white, a little bit gray. We can increase or decrease the padding. So that's inside here. You can maybe double it to 30 pixels just to add some more white space. And also the border radius. You can see that it's almost square. It's just 2 pixels of rounding here in the edges. So maybe I want to increase that to 12. And I can also tweak the box shadow. So let's save and preview. So now you can see that there are more space in here, and I have this rounded corners, and I also have a nice box shadow. And this will apply to all my info windows or light boxes, so I don't have to style each one individually. So that's the info window settings. If we go back to the content tab, we have settings. And here's lots of detailed settings for the control, for the position, and for the styles. For example, in the styles tab, we have the default Google Maps look, but we can change it to a custom design where you can insert your own JSON if you are a little bit more advanced. We can change it to maybe blue water. Maybe we should actually zoom out so we have some different elements in the map. There we go. So let's go back to the settings. So this is the blue water look. we can use the lemon tree like that. And we have unsaturated browns. Holiday, that would be nice. A flat map. And we have the avocado world. And in the control settings, you can fine-tune the behavior of the map. So if you scroll on the page or use the roller on the mouse, you can fine-tune how it should behave. You can also change the map type if it should be road map, satellite, hybrid, or terrain. So satellite, for example, looks like this. Or you have the hybrid or the terrain. Looks pretty cool. And then we have all the controls. So by default, Google Maps have these zoom in controls, and you have this little guy here, and you have the full toggle, full screen view, and you have some different stuff here, and you can choose from map or satellite. So we can actually just do it like this, and then we will remove all these different settings here. So if you want to have it more clean, that's an option. Or you can fine-tune it by just saying that I don't want to have this zoom control, for example. I can just turn it off. So this is a nice way of fine-tuning the elements on the map. And also map type, that's this one. We can use a drop-down menu instead for that one, like that. And some other settings here that we can disable or enable. Then we have the marker settings. So do we want a marker animation? That's none by default, but we can maybe try out a bounce. And we can also add this trigger method. So by default, the info window is triggered by click, but we can have it on mouse over, on hover. So let's try that one. So it's both the marker animation bounce and the mouse over instead of click. So I'll save. And now I will refresh the map. Looks a bit different now. And if I hover, you can see that this one is bouncing in. I can open the info window on page load, so that would be that the user would not have to click or hover this one. So that would open just on page load. I can also set on, if you click on another marker, that would close the first marker's info window. And if you just click somewhere in the map, that would also close the info window. So I think that's a nice feature. We can also change the max width of the info window. So let's try to increase that to maybe 400, like that. Another nice setting is the marker clusters. So if I would have several markers here, they will cluster together when they are close enough. So let's add a new item here. I just clone this one. And let's add a different address. So we have Södermalm, another place in Stockholm. So we'll add that there, and maybe also change the marker. We can use the default marker for that one. And that's Södermalm. There we have it. And if I would zoom out here, and we have the cluster settings, we set that to on, and let's preview in front end. You can see that we have a cluster, so it says that there are 2 items here, and if I click them, it will zoom in and you will see the different items here. So that's also a nice feature if you use lots of markers. Another thing you can do in the design tab is the map, where you can use different color filters. So I could, for example, set the map saturation to 0. So that will make it kind of black and white, but the icons will still be in color. So this could be a nice effect as well. Okay, so let's try out the Leaflet Map, the lightweight alternative to Google Maps. So I'll just add, let's make a new row and Leaflet Map. So there we go. I could use my Google Maps API key to search here, but I can also use custom latitude and longitude, so I'll set that to yes. And now I'll head over to Google Maps, and we have Avicii Arena, and I will right click the marker, and there we have the coordinates. So I'll click that one to copy to clipboard, and let's go back, and now I can add the latitude, so that's the first line of numbers, and we can add the longitude, that's the last line of numbers. And there we have it without using the Google Maps API key. And we can have different zoom levels, of course, like that. So let's add a marker. And it's the same thing here. You can use the custom latitude and longitude, or we can use the Google Maps API key to find it. So I'll try that one. Arena, and find. So there we have a pin. And let's go back and add another one. Södermalm. There we have our second pin. So we also have a few map settings here. Let's check out the map tiles. So it's an OpenStreetMap here, but I can have something called Stammen maybe. Looks like that. Black and white. Watercolor. That's a bit artistic. And we have the terrain. So that looks pretty good too. And let's add some info here. My first marker. And my second marker. Okay, so in the map settings, let's try to open one of these up. There we have them, so I can preview it also using the visual builder. So show zoom control, that's this one. I can enable or disable that one. Let's open that one up again on that one. And use double click to zoom, use scroll wheel to zoom. I like to disable that one because people are often, when they are using the wheel, they want to scroll and not zoom. And also I can center the map, so it will be centered around the markers. And we have some pop-up settings. I can trigger the pop-ups on click or hover, just like in the Google Maps. And I can change the width for the pop-up. I want to enable close pop-up on map click. So if I open this one and then click on the map, it will close. I think that's pretty good user experience. I can also say open all pop-ups. So they are now open by default. And I can close them by clicking in the map. And we also have some map clustering settings. And here I can actually set the maximum cluster radius. So if I expand that to 200, maybe 600, we have the clustering active, so I can fine-tune when the clustering should be enabled. But let's put that back to 80, and they will be separated. In the design tab, we can change the pop-up styles, just like in the Google Maps with the, let's see here, the rounded corners, maybe try 50, so it will be very round. And we can change the background color, we can add a border, change the border color, make it dotted, add some box shadow, yeah, you name it. And I can style the title and yeah, everything that I can do in the Google Maps module basically. I can also style the cluster, so that's kind of nice. Let's go back and change the cluster settings. Let's make it active 600. So that should turn on the cluster settings. And now I can go to the design tab and mark a cluster, and we can change the color. So now it's purple, and yeah, we can fine tune it. So we can style basically everything here in the cluster icon. So that's nice. So the last thing is the Supreme Maps settings, and you can choose which modules that should be visible in the module library. By default, you can see both the Leaflet module and the Google Maps module. And I know that they're working on the Bing Maps module, and there will be more alternatives in the future. You also have this MISC tab where we can enable dynamic CSS. And I know that they have been working a lot on page speed and making this really fast. So I would recommend you to enable dynamic CSS. And that means that the CSS related to Supreme Maps module will only load on the page when they are needed. So this will increase the page speed. Don't forget to read more at divimundo.com/maps and use the discount coupon DiviMundo for 10% off Supreme Maps Pro. Thank you for watching.